According to State Farm, Americans made over 100,000 insurance claims for lightning damage last year, and Texans made over 9,000, putting us second in the nation, just behind Florida. As the Cold Case Squad examines these unsolved murders, they'll work to find new leads, retest evidence, and put fresh eyes on cases once assumed lost. And if you have any information for them, they've set up an email and a phone line for tips. Bernie's mission was simple: come to a major college campus in a swing state and convince millennial voters that Hillary Clinton is the candidate for them. But did it work? Well, the voters I talked to say yes. Now, Brian, Ian, I'm standing here right outside Crestwood High School's football stadium. Some shocking news coming to us tonight from Crestwood High School. Superintendent of Crestwood Local Schools, David Toth, suspending all high school football operations effective immediately. These details are just coming into us. This broke late this afternoon, so this is a story still developing, and TV2 will keep you updated throughout this whole process. Guys, it's a pretty shocking what has come out so far here from Crestwood High School, but TV2, as I said, will stay on it. Reporting live in Manaway, Ben Orner, TV2 Sports. Good evening, Kent State and all of Portage County. I'm Ben Orner.
And I'm Samantha Abraham. You know, Ben, it was starting to look like a snow globe out there today.
Yeah, the snow started a few hours ago. It's really coming down hard, and I don't think the snow is going to stop anytime soon, but we'll go to Jessica Manley with our first forecast for that answer. New at 6, President Trump signed 2 tariffs today on imported steel and aluminum, but for now, Canada and Mexico are exempt. The tariffs will increase the price of foreign steel by 25% and imported aluminum by 10%. They'll go into effect in 15 days. Video games are very popular in our culture, but they have the president questioning whether or not violent video games are the cause of mass shootings.
Our correspondent Naya Coleman has the story. Naya?
Tensions are rising between the White House and the FBI. President Trump wants to release a classified GOP intelligence memo from the FBI to the public, but FBI Director Christopher Wray is concerned that the memo may not be completely accurate because it leaves out certain facts. Democrats are on his side, though, calling the memo misleading. What might happen once the file becomes public is still unclear, but President Trump could notify Congress as soon as tomorrow to release it.
It's going to be more sun, less snow, and definitely a lot warmer.
Well, we'll have to get through the snow to get to the sun. Thanks so much,
right.
Jessica. The FDA is warning everyone about a new popular herbal supplement used to treat pain. It's called Kratom, and it may affect your body the same way opioids do. Kratom is often used as a mood enhancer or a sedative. It's a natural treatment for conditions like chronic pain, anxiety, and depression, but some research links it to 44 deaths. However, critics say that research is flawed, saying some of the victims were mixing it with other drugs. The intersection of Route 43 and Howe Road in Brimfield will soon get a traffic light. ODOT will convert it from the flashing light that is currently at the intersection. ODOT said heavy rush hour traffic and the ongoing development on the road was reason enough to put in a stoplight. Installation will be complete by the end of the summer, and it will include a northbound left turn arrow. And staying on the road, folks at the License Bureau in Streetsboro are repairing the building after a car crashed through the front window. Police say an Aurora woman hit the gas instead of the brake and jumped the curb in front of the building. The driver will not be cited, though. No one was injured, and the structure of the building was not harmed. Welcome back to Portage Pulse. That was House Speaker Paul Ryan announcing something much anticipated from this 115th Congress, a plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. But should Obamacare even be taken away? Joining me now to talk about the good, the bad, and the future of Barack Obama's Affordable Care Act is Dr. Kathy Wilson, a professor of economics at Kent State. She received her PhD in 1996 from the University of Wisconsin, Paul Ryan State.
It is.
Dr. Wilson, thank you for joining me. What do you think of when you hear the words Planned Parenthood? You probably think of abortion. Planned Parenthood has been popping up in the news for a while because of that, as a woman's right to choose is perpetually a hot-button issue. But right now, the American healthcare providers' 650 health centers across the country face a challenge as Congress looks to take away their government funding. Ohio's Republican governor has some recommendations for gun control. Good evening, Kent State and all of Portage County. I'm Ben Orner.
And I'm Samantha Abraham. Ohio Governor John Kasich rolled out 6 new measures regarding gun control laws today.
Our reporter Naya Coleman has a breakdown of these new policies. Naya. So Naya, the policies sound like they're going to be relatively light from a lot of the major gun control proposals we've seen from other states. But Kasich is a Republican governor, and gun control is something pretty significant to come from a guy in a red state.
It was really shocking to have a Republican governor propose that.
We begin tonight with some big news coming out of Cleveland.
That's right, the Cavs made some big roster moves today, and sports anchor Mitch Pinnell joins us now to break it all down. Mitch, wild day.
Honestly, this may be the turning point, positively or negatively, for the Cavaliers.
This week, the Midwest has seen some intense flooding. A deep dip in the jet stream is drawing tropical moisture from the Pacific Ocean into our neck of the woods. Coupled with our snow melt, that's not good. Some of the most affected areas include northern Indiana, eastern and central Michigan, and just about the whole state of Ohio. Just this week, Columbus got its entire February rainfall total. These storms have also caused at least 3 deaths across the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. Welcome back. Kent State is opening a new exhibit at the May 4th Museum to honor one of the victims of the May 4th shooting. TV2's Devin Bates has more on why this is so special to the community. Devin?
So your solution is automatic voter registration, which is already in 6 states. It's Alaska, California, Connecticut, Oregon, Vermont, and West Virginia. So basically explain what House Bill 14 calls for.
Tonight on TV2 News, the Kent State men's basketball team scored a big win in the MAC tournament today, and they'll advance to the semifinals. What made the difference in the final seconds of the game? Coming up. Coming up on TV2 News, Black History Month starts today, and the roots of this historic month may surprise you. We'll show you how Black History Month started right here at Kent State. But first, an update on the shooting at a Los Angeles middle school that left a 15-year-old in critical condition. TV2 News starts right now.
This spot holds some special memories.
As a young girl, Carla Ritchie spent every afternoon eating lunch with her grandparents under this tree by the laundromat they managed in Taylor.
I learned Amazing Grace and ABCs from them.
But nearly 40 years later, every memory carries a dark reminder of her grandfather's final moments.
Our memories are tarnished every day, every day.
In 1988, someone assaulted her grandparents outside their home in rural Williamson County. Her grandfather, S.E. Ritchie, suffered a fractured skull and died 17 days later.
This case has been cold since my grandfather hit the ground.
The Ritchie case, like a handful of others in Wilco, has gone cold, but newly elected Sheriff Robert Chody is trying to change that, with a new cold case squad focusing on 11 unsolved homicides and missing person cases dating back to 1979.
We need their experience.
Chody's team of a dozen volunteers features some of the most experienced retired law enforcement agents living in the county, including former federal agents, U.S. Marshals, and big city homicide detectives.
Remember, Williamson County was a different place back then, and what I mean by that, it was smaller. You had smaller law enforcement agencies without the resources they have now.
As the cold case squad examines these unsolved murders, they'll work to find new leads, retest evidence, and put fresh eyes on cases once assumed lost. And if you have any information for them, they've set up an email and a phone line for tips.
If that means we solve 10 cases, great. If we solve 1 case, great. Again, a win-win if we just get a suspect.
For Sheriff Chody, this new team sends a message to the criminals who think they've escaped justice.
This isn't a podunk town. We're going to find you, and you're going to get justice for the crime that you committed in this county.
And for Carla Ritchie, it means the healing might finally begin.
You know, I feel like I've pushed this boulder alone for so many years. And I'm just pushing it up this hill, and I'm tired. And I feel like that Sheriff Chody and the department and this team of volunteers have stepped in, and they can take it from here.
In Williamson County, Ben Orner, KXAN Investigates.
This is the TV that we replaced when I came home from the storm. It wouldn't power on.
Brad Morgan is no stranger to storm damage.
I'm a State Farm agent.
But last month, he was the one who needed an insurance agent. When severe weather swept through the Austin area, he came home to find his devices fried.
For me, it was just my TV, my modem, my router, and my Blu-ray player.
The culprit? Lightning. During the storm, a lightning bolt latched onto the electrical wires coming into his home and broke through his surge protector.
For me, it was very minimal.
The damage in Brad's home is minor, but others in the Austin area weren't so lucky. 4 homes in Williamson County caught fire during July thunderstorms, and lightning is the suspected cause for each blaze, like this one in Cedar Park.
That's very extensive damage to this house.
Mike Nestor handles weather claims for State Farm, and he's very familiar with lightning's ability to damage homes.
It's not as uncommon as you think, even though it's a random occurrence.
According to State Farm, Americans made over 100,000 insurance claims for lightning damage last year, and Texans made over 9,000, putting us second in the nation, just behind Florida. Those claims are costly, too. The average insurance claim for lightning damage in the Lone Star State is almost $10,000. Nestor's advice to keep your home and your investments protected: make sure your insurance covers everything that can happen.
That you've visited with your insurance agent, your insurance representative, and talked about your needs. Here's my house. This is what kind of insurance do I need on this house? My personal property. Have a good understanding of the personal property that you own.
In Williamson County, Ben Orner, KXAN Investigates. Thanks, Chip. Nate Hawley is free on bail tonight after being charged with felony kidnapping in Portage County Court this afternoon. I was in the courtroom for Hawley's arraignment as he stood in front of a judge for the first time.
All rise.
Kent State senior football player Nate Hawley wore an unfamiliar uniform today, donning an orange and white jumpsuit at an arraignment in the Portage County Courthouse. Hawley is charged with first-degree felony kidnapping after allegedly holding a female Kent State student against her will on Thursday in Franklin Township. He was arrested Friday afternoon and had been in jail since. At the arraignment, Judge Barbara Oswick set a bond of 10% of $50,000, and Hawley is expected to post bail. Upon release, he will be allowed zero contact with the victim.
That means no contact. That means not by text messaging, not through a friend. You go somewhere and this person happens to be there, you turn around and you leave as soon as possible.
Hawley will wear a GPS tracking device so police can make sure he stays within a certain perimeter at all times. He also can't use drugs or alcohol. Hawley, a physical education major, is a standout safety on the Flash's football team, leading the entire nation in tackles. When reached for comment, University spokesman Eric Mansfield said Hawley is, quote, suspended indefinitely from the team. In attendance at his arraignment were Hawley's father, sister, and brother Nick, who is the team's starting quarterback. Nate Hawley's pretrial hearing is Thursday at 9 a.m. Meanwhile, the Flashes prepare for a home game tomorrow night against number 14, Western Michigan. For TV2, I'm Ben Orner.
No.
On Saturday, students eagerly lined up at the Kent State Rec Center.
I got here at about 7:30.
To see a fan favorite among millennials, former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. But that afternoon, the Vermont senator was campaigning not for himself, but for his former challenger, Hillary Clinton.
If Secretary Clinton wins here in Ohio, I believe she will be the next president of the United States.
During the Democratic primary, exit polls showed Sanders crushing Clinton among young voters, getting 71% of the millennial vote nationwide and 81% in Ohio, which makes Kent State a prime location for a rally and student issues a perfect topic.
The debt crisis, of course, student debt.
All of you are dealing with is the insanity of millions of people struggling with outrageously high levels of student debt, and we're going to deal with that issue.
Clinton plans to deal with student debt with refinancing, loan forgiveness, and lowering the cost of tuition.
We have got to talk about making public colleges and universities tuition free.
In her plan, students would pay zero tuition if they go to an in-state public institution and fall under a certain household income cutoff. Students would immediately qualify if they come from a household that brings in less than $85,000 a year, and by 2021, the cutoff would rise to $125,000. The campaign says the tuition plan would impact 89% of households just in Ohio. Oh, and by the way, the plan also calls for community college to be completely free for everyone. Now, all these ideas are enticing to students.
How many of you guys are worried about student debt? All right.
But some think they're a little too ambitious.
Of course, we need to lower the cost of tuition. We need to fight against student loan debtors. But the whole free college for all, I think it's a little much.
It's a big goal, and they're fighting a lot of people to try to make it happen. I think it'll happen one day. I just don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 years, basically.
Bernie's mission was simple: come to a major college campus in a swing state and convince millennial voters that Hillary Clinton is the candidate for them. But did it work? Well, the voters I talked to say yes.
I think definitely having his support made me want to.
I think him talking about how instead of us fighting either against the police or against even other races, we need to come together as a nation and be here for each other.
Do you think Hillary can embody
Yes,
that?
I think definitely Hillary can do that.
And even though not everyone is supporting the Democratic nominee,
I am personally voting third party this year for Jill Stein.
I do plan on voting for the independent candidate.
the millennials who came into the rally feeling the burn but left stronger together as Hillary supporters will be crucial for Secretary Clinton, as she currently trails Donald Trump by just 3 points in the Buckeye State.
Thank you all very much.
Reporting for TV2 at the Kent State Rec Center, I'm Ben Orner.